All right, parents. So we're back with part two. So we're going to pick up where we left off. When they're looking at the questions, they're going to get the key terms this year, which I love. It keeps them and it reminds them of what they're looking for. Forms of a number. So, standard form, the number written as a group of digits, 1 to 83. And in this tutorial that they give you, they're giving you the key terms you're going to have to be familiar with. The expanded form. So, 100 plus 80 plus 3 equals 183. So, that's called the expanded form. So, and it gives you some reasoning of why they need to know this. There are multiple ways to write multi-digit. You can go through all of these. This is what your students been learning this year, so you can have an idea. I love that they're using key terms to get through this little tutorial. So which comparison is true? What does it mean by true? Which one is correct, basically? But true also refers to a mathematical term. So which one of these is correct? 2006-13 is greater than 2005-97. 1436 is less than 598. 4725 is less than 3746. And then 6210 is equal to 621. Well, we know what, parents? We know, and you know what? Exactly. Exactly. I may need to lower this just a little bit to make sure that we are moving quickly. So we're going to go to page one. So let's go to page two. It tells you on here. So you've got an idea of this question. And I want you to continue working. Remember, they're going to go to next when you're going through this online study guide. And it's going to give you an exact example of these problems. A small theater has seating for 300 people. There are 264 people attending a play being performed in a theater. How many empty seats are in the theater? Well, this is a real life problem. So this is what they consider a real life problem. So now the student has to figure out, what do I need to do? A small theater has seating for 300 people. There are 264 people attending a play uh, performed in the theater. How many seats are remaining? Well, parents, what do we know? What do we got to do? Somebody say it. Absolutely. We have to subtract. And guess what? Your students will have scratch paper available. They will have scratch paper available to them so that they can work and they can perform the algorithm. So their algorithm should look something like this: 300 minus 264. Three-digit subtraction. So what happens in three-digit subtraction? Absolutely, you have to regroup. I don't know who's saying it. I'm hoping everybody is. And in the regrouping process, we learned what? That there is going to be 36 seats that are empty. So, and guess what? It allows you to check, but it also gives you the correct choice is 36. But I'd like what they've done with the tutorial this year. I wish on the ELA portion was like this, but it also gives you the reasons why the other ones were not. You need to go through this with your students. Select three questions, three equations that are true. So the students need to quickly work out these questions. And if they've known, and they can do it in their head, but parents, encourage them to use their scratch paper on this, okay? Encourage them to use their scratch paper, the correct answers. Don't just go looking at these. Work through this with your students. It's okay. If their parents are working with them, if you're working with your students and the teachers they're working with them. I promise you, they're going to exceed. As you can tell, it's not super difficult at this grade level just yet, but we haven't seen all the problems. So I'm going to start moving a little bit quicker. We have a basic addition. See, they're going to see a lot of these word problems. Stephen has 2 watermelons for a family to picnic. One watermelon weighs 352 ounces, and the other watermelon weighs 429 ounces. What is the total weight in ounces of the watermelons Stephen has? The good thing is what? They're not asking him to include what the ounces on the end of it. They just want to know the numerical value on this question. So let's not get lost in the weeds. All right, so now we start moving into properties and understanding and exploring multiplication and understanding some algebraic expression. Yes, in third grade, they're doing it. So Which expression has the same value as 6 times 13? So this is why it's been so important for your students to understand 6 times and know their multiplication facts. 6 times 6. Okay? So getting in speed, let's get those flashcards out. Let's be doing that speed work with multiplication. Once again, this is another problem they're going to be looking at. It's not going to be the exact same problem, parents, but it's going to be very similar to what they will face. Work these problems with your students so they feel comfortable. If they can work it with you and they can work it with their teacher, when it comes time they have to do it by themselves, they're going to be able to do it. Part A. This is a part A and a part B type question. And look, it's giving you a scoring rubric. It's telling you what the student has to do. Let's go back. Let's see. Let's scroll down. So we've got part A. So move the shaded block. So now they're going to have to move the shaded block to represent 3 times 4. And this is one of those represent in a modeling type situation. So we've got 1, 2. We got to shade the squares the right way. And the students have been working on this with their teachers in third. So 3 times 4. So we got 3 rows of 4. What does that represent? Well, what do we know 3 times 4 is? 3 times 4 is? Absolutely, it's 12. So let's count. Let's make sure we have 12 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squares completed. Not only do they have to shade it in, but they also have to get this right. See, part B has nothing to do with part A. So what is the value of 5 times 3? So the students just had to put 12 squares, right? 3 times 4. But now, what do we got to do? What has to happen? So 3 times 4 is up there. What do we have to do now? They're giving you another one. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a trick question, but they've got to get both parts right. So 2 points for the student that answers both questions correctly. 1 point for the student that correctly answers one part. All right, so we got both parts correct. So we got 12 pencils, and then we've got 15 as the answer for the expression. So this is part of the training. Please go through these online tutorials with your students. Take the time, sit with them. The more you sit with them, the more you look at it, I promise it will go so much smoother for them the days that they go to start taking mathematics and also ELA, folks. You've got more resources now than you've ever had for testing. I hope some of these tutorials we're doing, I don't want to be too long, but I want you to go through this. Some of these are the enhanced questions. It tells you exactly what you want. Looky here. What is it giving you? Let's see. Let's take a look at this one. Braden has 5 containers of eggs. Each container holds 12 eggs. How many eggs does Braden have altogether? Well, what does it want them to do? After answering the question, so it says 5. Let's see, that's a backspace. They have 5 containers, so they kind of want them to show this right here. So it's giving them a space. So let's see what we've got. We got 5 containers of eggs. Each container holds 12. So this is what they're wanting them to do. So it's not giving us any type of what? So the students are going to need to use their scratch paper. How many eggs do they have altogether? So they're going to have to take 5 times 12 on their scratch paper and come up with the answer. So this is holding a couple of different things. How do they do it? Can they do this in their head? Well, we know that 5 times 2 is what? 10. And if we carry the 1 over from the 10, we should have what? That is correct. We should have 60. Let's check our answer. 60 would be correct. So the correct answer is shown below. So they'll have to type that answer in using their keypad. 60 eggs. Now, what I like here is the student answers the question correctly. It's giving you a scoring rubric and how it's going to work. So some of these enhanced questions require a little bit of thought and a little bit of practice. And they're going to get practice on this. Their teachers should have been practicing with them at school, but it's important that you practice with them at home too. And we're going to give them a couple more practices before milestones so that they understand how to use some of these tools. One of the reasons I paused and I started clicking things is I wanted you to see a student can get lost if they don't know what they're doing with the test. All right, guys, I hope that these are working. I hope that you like these tutorials. Let us know if you like these tutorials and if this is helping. Continue to go through this online study guide for mathematics. I think this is going to be a great tool for you to work with at home. Have a great day.